हेलो एवरीवन, दिस वीडियो इज़ अबाउट IELTS लिसनिंग MCQs। स्टूडेंट्स को MCQs में ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम आती है क्योंकि उन्हें लगता है कि सारी ऑप्शंस ही होती हैं, वो कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं। तो इस वीडियो में हम करेंगे सॉल्व MCQs एंड उससे आपको होपफुली हेल्प होगी कि कैसे इजीली हम एक्सक्लूड करते हुए राइट आंसर सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं। सो लेट्स बिगिन विद द क्वेश्चंस। सबसे पहले हमें क्वेश्चंस देखने हैं कि व्हाट दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट, क्योंकि कन्वर्सेशन तो काफ़ी लंबी होती है लेकिन इन क्वेश्चंस पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चंस के बारे में वो बात कर रहे हैं या नहीं उसकी बात नहीं होती। लाइक 21st इज हाउ मेनी पार्ट्स डज अ पेपर इंक्लूड, मीन्स दे आर टॉकिंग अबाउट सम काइंड ऑफ रिसर्च पेपर, तो उसमें कितने पार्ट्स हैं उसकी बात हो रही है। 22nd हाउ मेनी वर्ड्स, कि एक पेपर में कितने वर्ड्स होने चाहिए, डज अ पेपर नीड। एंड व्हाट इज़ द ट्यूटर्स पॉइंट अबाउट इंटरनेट रिसोर्सेज, यानी कि जब वो रिसोर्सेज की बात करेंगे तो ट्यूटर का क्या पॉइंट है उसके बारे में हम ऑप्शंस अभी नहीं देखेंगे। फिर 24th एंड 25th है चूज 2 लेटर्स, व्हाट डज ट्यूटर वॉर्न द स्टूडेंट अबाउट द पेपर। अब ट्यूटर किस बारे में वॉर्न करता है। चलिए लेट्स स्टार्ट।
Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 24.
Good morning. Oh, it's just hit 12. Good morning, Miss Potter. May I come in?
Oh, Jerry, of course. Come in and take a seat, please.
Thank you.
Well, how about your assignment?
Do you mean my paper?
Yes.
I still think about the draft, but I hope you can give me some help and suggestions.
Of course. How long will it take you to finish your draft?
I'm not sure. Maybe 3 days?
My advice is that you should spend a lot of time on your draft. As you know, a good beginning is very important for a paper. A good draft can help you outline your paper and even benefit your argument.
Okay, I will try my best to write up my work. Miss Potter, how many parts are in the paper?
Generally speaking, there are 4 parts and references.
So there are 5 parts.
Right. Contents, introduction, main body.
And conclusion?
Yes. And a bibliography.
So how about the word?
Now we are done with the 21st. Why the answer is C, 5 parts. They did not talk about 3 parts at all, so exclude that. And 4 parts, yes. When the Jerry came to Mrs. Potter, the tutor, she was talking about assignment. First they were talking about draft. Don't jump into answer. They were talking about draft, how long it will take to finish. Then 3 days they were talking about. After that, they started discussing about the parts. Tutor said, generally speaking, there are 4 parts and references. 4 parts plus references. Plus references. So that means it's 5 parts. And then again he confirmed. Okay, so there are 5 parts. Then she said, right, contents, introduction, main body, and then conclusion and the bibliography. Means there are 5 parts. Now let's move to the next question.
So how about the word limitation of my paper?
According to the requirements, you have to write at least 3,000 words and not over 5,000.
Okay, 3 to 5,000.
Right. How?
It is totally clear in the next question, because when the student Jerry asked the word limitation, tutor said according to the requirement you have to write at least 3,000 words, not over 5,000. 3 to 5,000? She said right. Means it's not 1 to 3,000, 3 to 4,000. The answer is clear. It is C, 3 to 5,000. Then the 23rd is, what is the tutor's point about internet resources? Let's see.
How about your research?
I haven't begun to do the research.
Why?
Because I'm not sure about the research method. I cannot decide to use which one now.
I remember I suggested you to use the method of interview.
Yes, but I think maybe questionnaire is better for my work.
Really? Tell me your reason.
I have to spend some time of the day on a part-time job, so I think maybe a questionnaire is a good way to collect the data that I need.
Fine. Oh, do you search resources or data from the internet?
Yes, I think it's a good way to collect data, and as you know, it can help save lots of time.
Jerry, in fact, many students do most of their research on the internet. You might think that it is an easier way to get resources, but most data are from highly unreliable resources, so be critical.
Okay, I will pay attention to that.
So now if we go to the 23rd one, first they were talking about research methods. What kind of research method he should use? The tutor was also suggesting that go for interview method. Then he said questionnaire is better, but I'm doing part-time job. And so then teacher said, what about internet resources? So our answer can be here. So student said like it's a good way to collect data. But tutor, what was her viewpoint? Critical, negative, positive? She said many students do research on internet. You might think it's easier way to get resources, but most data are from highly unreliable resources. So be critical. So tutor told Jerry to be critical. So the answer is critical. Now let's move to 24th and 25th.
Then, there are some things you should consider when you write the paper.
Okay.
Be careful with your references and quotations, and do not share other people's work. I mean, you should write clearly about reference books, and do not forget to acknowledge the original writers. Otherwise, you will be failed for plagiarism.
Okay, I've got it.
The other point is...
Deadline?
No, deadline is the date of handing in your work. You better hand it in on time. But if you have a reasonable excuse, you can ask for an extension.
Fine. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. The other point you should pay attention to is your research data.
Okay, I will write them clearly. Oh, Miss Potter, could you recommend to me some good reference books about the topic of my paper?
So they are not talking about library resources. He asked in the end that can you suggest, and then research method. They are not talking about research method here. Paper deadline, she told no, and they were talking about plagiarism and research data. So if we go to the conversation, if we notice exactly what they were talking. So he said, there are something you should consider when you write the paper. Be careful with your references and quotation. Do not share other people's work. That is called plagiarism. We know that. I mean, you should write clearly about reference book and do not forget to acknowledge the original writer. Otherwise, you will be failed for plagiarism. Okay, I have got it. The other point, he said deadline. She said no, deadline is the date of handing in your work. So then she said the other point, you should pay attention to your research data. So then he said, okay, I will write them clearly. So the answer is research data and plagiarism. मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस में गाइस वो जनरली आपको कंफ्यूज करते हैं 2-3 ऑप्शंस के बारे में बोल के. जैसे इसमें भी उसने डेडलाइन बोला. अगर आपने अच्छे से नहीं सुना तो आप डेडलाइन भी टिक कर सकते हो, लेकिन आपको ध्यान देना है उसने उसको नो बोला है. तो मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस में जनरली वो चेंज कर लेते हैं, तो आपको थोड़ी अटेंशन पे करनी होती है. थैंक यू फॉर वॉचिंग दिस वीडियो.